Good afternoon, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me.
No, we really appreciate you taking the time to be part of this leadership series. Not to put too much pressure on you, but I'm sure you're going to give great, valuable perspectives and insights to our business audience. Why don't we just hit it with, if you would, just tell everybody who you are and a tiny bit of your background.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. So my name is Dave Duckwitz. My last role, I was the Chief Executive Officer of a company called CitizenHawk. CitizenHawk happened to be in what's referred to as the online brand protection space. What was interesting about the company is it had some very influential backers. I had Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, Mark Faden, the founder of Blue Nile and Zulily, Gary Kremen, the founder of Match.com, just to name a few. And the problem we were solving there was really addressing the issue of these different types of infringements that were taking place online. With the growth of the internet often comes a fairly significant outcropping of bad guys that are figuring out how to monetize and take advantage of growth in any marketplace. So in particular at CitizenHawk, we were dealing with taking down gray market counterfeit goods, addressing issues in terms of social media abuse, logo abuse, or our typo squatting, which is a pretty interesting business in of itself. So, without going into all the details, I came into that opportunity as an early stage company that was actually a failed startup. I was not the founder, and turned it around in the course of 5 or 6 years and had a very successful exit about a year ago. A company sold to Wolters Kluwer, which is a 125-year-old, $5 billion legal services company.
Wow.
So very proud of the accomplishment there with the team and just a great outcome. Prior to that, most of my experience, over the last, let's say, 15 years has really been internet related. I at one time was the president of Stamps.com, right about to 1999 when the bubble was taken off.
I just got a mailer from them with 19 free stamps.
And you could have your picture on one of them if you wanted to.
I'm sure people would love that. Yes.
Yeah. So I got into the internet basically at its infancy. Prior to a lot of the advent of tools and technology to measure, how effective you are at driving consumer awareness and adoption. We were kind of doing it on our own on spreadsheets back at the time. But I learned a lot and evolved my career as an executive in the internet, and later went on to become part of the early stage management team with a company called Commission Junction, who today is one of the pronounced leaders in the affiliate marketing space. I was with CJ from the very beginning, grew the company materially and sold it to ValueClick, and had a great exit there, and went on to hold some other executive leadership positions, inside of ValueClick and other companies.
Yeah, that's amazing. I want to get into some of the leadership perspectives there. Let's just start by this. Could you give, and I know this is hard to do, could you give a two, three line definition of what you think leadership is to start with?
Yeah, I don't know about 2 or 3 lines, but I'll do my best to give you my overview take on it. I think leadership is literally being able to harness the value of your resources inside of an organization to get everybody on the same path towards execution, whatever that might be. In the case of obviously of an internet company or any business in particular, you're focused on driving execution towards a business plan. And really trying to get everybody working collaboratively together, to minimize waste and to be as efficient as possible.
That's pretty good. That was only 4 lines, I think. But that's interesting because you have a diverse background. You actually started large corporate, I believe HP, etc. You've had consulting, you've had startups. How have you seen, especially some of the incredible people you've worked with, how have you seen what the right fit leadership is for an entrepreneur, for somebody starting a business and growing a business?
Yeah, it's a good question. For myself personally, I really look at a cultural fit in terms of what I'm getting myself into. If I come into a company such as a case of a failed startup, obviously there's an opportunity to kind of resurrect everything and blow it up and start all over and do it, how I would define it, suitable towards my culture. It can get a little trickier when you're coming into an organization that has fairly solid infrastructure in place and trying to navigate through that and make an impact in the change. But I think culture has a big part of driving that leadership value in terms of being able to really establish a proper course for being successful in any type of entrepreneurial role.
When you're looking at there's actually two perspectives. With respect to a startup, if you're looking to participate as an employee / shareholder or even as an investor, I know it's a general question, what are you looking for? And with respect to that, the executives in the startup, what should they be showing you for you to want to join them?
So if you're talking about, is the question related to from an investor point of view or from actually joining the company as an executive?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say from as an executive in terms of looking to join, a startup, I think a number of things. Number one, how sound is the business model? There's a lot of great companies out there that are trying to make something of themselves, but is the business model sound? What's the addressable market? How many people actually would be interested in this product or service, such that if we can execute well, are we really going to make any money? So I'm pretty tight around the business model. Beyond that, you can get into the details, which certainly culture plays a part, but overall, it's really the team. What's in place, or what do you need to put into place to be able to execute? So, once you have a good business model, once you have a good team, then, the term is oversaid or the phrase is oversaid, but it's really genuinely all about execution and being able to figure out a way, despite the challenges that are going to come up, because in a startup there are many. Well-known fact that only a small percentage, make it. And I think as we're talking about maybe the specific skills related to a startup, it's a roll up your sleeves mentality. It's everybody all hands on deck. There might be some general roles and responsibilities, but everybody's literally got to chip in and be an athlete on the field. And that's another common phrase, but it's so true. You never know what you're going to get. Every day is different, and they're tough. They're tough, but they can be very rewarding.
I've heard a lot of entrepreneurial leaders say that they believe young people should try to get in their own business as early as possible, even 18, 19, 20, and fail. So they definitely would learn how to do it after that.
Yeah, no, it's it's the school of hard knocks. You get your best education through a startup. You honestly do. You get outside your comfort zones when you learn the most, and certainly inside of a startup, you're out there. You're out there.
I was going to say it must have been special. I don't know if special is the right word, but it must have been incredible. Maybe in your last opportunity with CitizenHawk, working with people like Howard Schultz, the founder of Match, etc. Those, incredible.
Yeah, no, I was very, very fortunate. The lead institutional investor there was a company called Mavron. That's the institutional firm that Howard Schultz had put together with his banker Dan Leviton, and they did some incredible events where they would bring in many of these individuals that I mentioned, as well as others, large CEOs of very large corporations, and they just do best practice sharing. I had the good fortune of having some personal coaching from a guy named Bill Campbell, who is the chairman of the board of Intuit and on the board of Apple. So anyway, it was terrific. It's certainly an experience I won't forget.
Well, that goes to one other question I wanted to bring up. Mentors. I hear that a lot, what you just said. You said the school of hard knocks. There's nothing like an unbelievable mentor to maybe even protect you from making at least some of the mistakes.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And what I've done throughout my career is I've have a few key select individuals which I put on my quote unquote board of directors, and these are guys, good friends and former colleagues or whatnot, and they're just individuals that they're there for me. I'm always there for them. I take a representation from different types of skills and discipline, where it's maybe finance or operations or marketing or what have you, and it's great to have resources like that you can problem solve with. But
yeah, it's invaluable. I agree. Well, you mentioned board members. They're obviously valued leaders. How do you see the right fit on a board? Because there's all types of things that can happen where sometimes board members think they can do a better job than the CEO. It used to be that they'd have board members all in the same industry, and the board searches we do and advisory we do, it's getting a lot more diverse, obviously, and from young to older to black to white to women, etc. How do you see how to determine the right fit of a board?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I've done at least is I've looked at the kind of resources that I would like to have that might shore up some weaknesses inside my own organization. Certainly, that's valuable, in terms of finding people that might help me solve a particular problem that I'm experiencing. People that have maybe been in my shoes or maybe have scaled, large companies, similar to what I'm striving to do. So things of that nature are generally, pretty applicable when looking for board members. And most importantly, if you can leverage these guys to help generate business through their contacts and referral network, that's a bonus.
Strategic
Absolutely.
board members. No, that makes a lot of sense. As you mentioned, you've been involved in the internet world a lot, and God knows you've seen a lot of change over the past several years. And what I've noticed is the impact of digital media, the impact of social media on business, the global opportunity that's now available, if you will, easier because of that is huge. How do you see all that as having affected how business owners and management and leaders have to act, or decisions they make, et cetera, with respect to all this internet and media?
Yeah, I think
coverage?
you're kind of touching on the aspect of social media, which has had a huge impact and influences business to a large degree. What's even more incredible and interesting in that vein is this whole rise of what's being referred to as social influencers. We have people that are now becoming celebrities off of these YouTube videos. They're on Dancing with the Stars. They're basically becoming very successful people in their own right. And what's
Right.
interesting there, just in terms of how it impacts business in general, is you got to be very careful about how your brand is being represented in these channels. It's not a joke. It's proven that it is a very influential part of the marketing channel. It's part of your PR campaign, and if you don't pay attention to it, at least to have a pulse on it, you can find yourself having to defend yourself in probably ways that you would particularly not like to. So because of that, you've had all these social watch companies that have sprung up, things that have to do with reputation management with companies, and some companies choose to ignore it, but unfortunately, if you can at least maintain a pulse in terms of what people are saying about your brand and how your brand's being associated in these different social networks, if you will, you can try to influence them. Like it or not, I don't think it's going away anytime soon. So I think it's just one of those things we're going to have to become more and more effective with.
So did Verizon or T-Mobile, did they make a right move in the Super Bowl to have Kim Kardashian
I think
represent them?
part of the audience would say yes, and there's certainly probably a part of the audience that would say no. But I've certainly enjoyed it.
So yeah, it is interesting. I've a lot of CEOs I've talked to sometimes are overwhelmed as to what social media or digital media avenues to use and how to keep up with it, because you got so much to do just running your business, basically.
Yeah, it really
What's your
depends
thoughts
what
on
your
that?
business is. I mean, if you're an e-commerce retailer, for example, you really need to exercise all the available channels that are out there. Whether it's social media, affiliate marketing, paid search, those are all just media buys. There's a portfolio of different type of online marketing strategies that you need to be engaged in, or you're not going to be able to compete. If you're a large brick and mortar company and you're in textiles, is it important? As important? Probably not. But you can use the internet
Right.
in another way, more for credibility, if you will. Somebody wants to know something about your company. You're not necessarily trying to sell them something online, but the internet in those cases are very commonly used for credibility sites. Here's trying to give you some substantial background about my business and the fact that we're a real player in the space, and things of that nature.
Yeah, you used the word influencers before. I talk also with a lot of our clients now that use their employees as influencers, whereas remember when it first started, a lot of employers were worried about their employees being on the internet. Now they're being smart and encouraging them to be on the internet in a smart, representative, professional way, and they're becoming influencers to to a lot of people, not only customers, but potential employees,
Yeah, and
vendors,
for example, almost all the larger companies, especially the e-commerce ones, have a Facebook page, for example. Why are they doing that? Well, the search engines, they now take into consideration the ranking of these social media networks in terms of how they're going to score that organic traffic to come up, high algorithmically in the natural search queries. So it's a part of a company's strategy in terms of really trying to hold rank in a category on a search term. So all that stuff, it's very much interrelated and part of the master marketing plan. Yeah, it certainly has.
The world's changed, hasn't it? Man. All right, here we got some real personal questions. These are short answer ones. So don't be nervous, just answer the truth.
I have
do you have a pet
very
or pets?
wonderful black lab. She's 15 years old, and she is our baby. She's our black baby. Her name is Lucky.
What's her name? All right, we'll have to get a picture of you and Lucky because we have something that we're starting now that's a lot of people sending pictures already called Pets
she's
and Their
my rock,
Executives.
so I'll be happy to send a pet.
All right. Hey, do you have a favorite activity or sport?
I got my pilot's license about 2 years ago. I treated myself actually the day that I sold the company. I went to the airport, signed up, and it's been great. I find it intellectually very stimulating, physically challenging, and it's fun. So I've been doing quite a bit of that lately. But overall, I like to stay fit, and I've got a couple of kids, so they're my biggest sport and activity.
I can appreciate that. Believe me. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
We kind of hang out on the couch with the kids a few nights a week, and we'll watch whatever the kids want to watch. It might be Bachelor, American Idol, just some of the easy, no-brainer stuff. And we have family night where we've got a little home theater where we settle in with the Netflix movie and do that as well. So I'm kind of. Yeah, I don't really get sucked into any one particular type of genre or movie. I just kind of watch them all, and frankly, usually I fall asleep because by the end of the day, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm sitting in a comfortable chair and I'm not thinking about work. I'm sleeping.
Well, what's interesting is I used to always tell my father, "How could you fall asleep during this?" And guess what? Now I'm doing it. Exactly. Do you have a favorite type of music?
Rock. I grew up obviously with some of the more nostalgic rock bands, your Led Zeppelins and the like. But I'm today with the kids in the car and so forth. I'm just more of the top 40 type of a guy, and just pretty generic about my musical taste. Love food.
Cool. How about food?
And nothing goes better with food than wine. And fortunate enough to have a nice wine cellar.
Absolutely.
My wife likes to cook, so our weekend routine is she'll make something nice to eat, and I get to figure out what to go serve with it. So that's fun.
Well, I think you've done good, and congratulations on the family time because I think that's a big part.
Work-life balance,
family we need more
on
of.
top. There's no doubt.
Thanks
Mark.
so much
Pleasure.
for participating. Really appreciate it.